So I will tell you that the left wing in Britain is 100 times better than the left wing we have here, because here everybody's a socialist in disguise, even conservatives.
Really?
They, yeah, because Giorgia Meloni comes from the so-called social right. She's not a libertarian. She's not a conservative in the Western sense of the term. I was
Mm.
hopeful towards her. I thought, yeah, she might be, a steady, firm leader, but she demonstrated um, to be a different leader, to be a left-wing leader in disguise. Because
Are you like
uh,
disappointed with her?
currently I am disappointed after having supported her, because I believed in her words and the idea of a conservative revolution. She's the first female leader in Italy, and expressively talked about the idea of conservatism. And nobody in Italy defined itself as a conservative back in the days, because this term was seen badly as a reminiscence to the fascist regime, to Mussolini. That it's a completely different thing, naturally, because Mussolini was a socialist and conservatives are on the other side of politics. A famous right-wing writer from the 20th century called Ennio Flaiano quoted, "In Italy, there can be conservatives because there is nothing to preserve." So there is a misconception about conservatism. I talked about this many times also with Gary Craig Paul, that I greet
Mm.
right now. Talking about Giorgia Meloni doesn't trust the will of people, and she thinks that the government is like a father that provides services to make the people comfortable. That's not the way to approach. She even taxed the bank's revenues last summer, because she thought that banks are exploiting the middle class. The middle class is saving its own interests in banks. So why criminalizing banks? I don't get the point. So you probably will be upset after what I'm saying, but even right-wing parties in Italy have some socialist aspects inside them.
Mm.
They see trade as a threat. They see commerce as an evil to fight, and they doesn't combat the European Union that is really destroying our economy. They try to reach a compromise with Brussels on the most various topics, but the appeasement, the road of consensus, as Margaret Thatcher demonstrated, is not the way to solve problems. The way to solve problems is leadership, the desire to polarize society, to impress a different direction, and to dismantle the idea that everybody should agree on everything because of a sort of constitutional harmony. Left-wing politicians dictate the rule to the right, telling them, you are disrespecting the Constitution. The Constitution talks about equality, about social benefits, about subsidies. If you right-wing parties doesn't align with us, and you believe in privatization, just to say one, you are racist. You are against the poorest people. That's a logic that's kind of a Kafkian nightmare to me, because I'm one of the few journalists in Italy to believe in libertarian principles and to see a wide consensus about ethical topics, economy, society, security, from the left to the right. We have a uniparty, and a true right-wing politician must do everything it can to defeat this national consensus. We need a Margaret Thatcher. That's the thing. We need a Ronald Reagan. We need a Javier Milei, but nobody has the courage to speak up and change things for the better. We must change. But people
Mm.
don't understand why. Can you tell
Mm.
me why? I can't understand it.
Yeah, I was just thinking of people who contradict themselves. And I just recall that it was like 2 months ago, I was reading an Italian author. Have you heard of Curzio Malaparte, the
Oh, yeah.
Italian?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I read a few of his books, and the last I read was his memoir when he was traveling in Russia and China. And as you probably know, Curzio, for most of his life, he was not exactly Mussolini supporter, but he was leaning towards him. But in his last years, he fell into communism. He went to Russia, China. He said, "Okay, that's the way. People seem happy. Everyone is well fed. Um, things are thriving. There are buildings being built here and there, and it's funny how people switch throughout life. I think to an extent, all of
Yeah.
us, as free thinkers as we are a product of our time, and there's no way we can escape that. Have you reflected about this?
Yeah, I reflected many times. Winston Churchill affirmed that after the armistice in Italy, we had 30 million fascists. The next day, they become immediately communists. That's transformism, the thing I described previously. The ability to think freely is not contemplated in Italy. In Italy, free thinkers were marginalized, and uh, there was a prejudice against those people that thought freely. The best economists of the 20th centuries, like Bruno Leoni, just to name one, moved to the United Kingdom to do research and teach in universities because Italian universities are full of the 68 philosophy or pseudo philosophy that wants to create division, despair, and confusion. There is not anymore the respect for teachers. Professors aren't seen anymore as an authority, and students, should I say left wing students, are destroying the cultural environments by giving collectivist ideas that are poisoning universities, schools, academies.